Let's bring jury in, then call your next witness. Jury entering. Thank you. Let the record reflect the approach of the defendant, his counsel, the state attorney, as well as ladies and gentlemen jury. Please proceed. Ladies and gentlemen jury, in your absence, I had Gary leave two transcripts on your chairs. We're going to get to those in a few moments. When it's appropriate, I'll ask you to open those up, and I'll have an instruction to read before we do that. But at this time, I'm going to ask the state to call its next witness.
Hector Bertrand, Your Honor.
Mr. Bertrand, please. Good morning. You are Hector Bertrand?
Yes, sir.
Welcome. Come on up here, please. When you get to that witness stand, just remain standing, raise your right hand and be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you should give in this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
To state your full legal name for the record.
Hector Bertrand,
Spell
Jr.
your first and last name for the court report.
Hector, E as in boy, Bertrand.
Thank you. Please be seated. Mr. Bertrand, that microphone in front of you only adjusts up or down, not back and forth, all right? See a little too high? All set, ready to go? Counsel, you may.
Thank you. Good morning. Could you please introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Retired detective, homicide detective, Hector Bertrand, Miramar Police Department.
Congratulations on your retirement. How long have you been retired?
About 2.5 years.
Prior to that, how long did you work for the Miramar Police Department?
28 years.
Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury some of the different hats you wore while employed for the Miramar Police Department?
Initially, after graduating the academy, I did a couple years in road patrol. Then there was a position open in Detective Bureau as like a training position that was going to be for 6 months and then go back to road. I never left the Detective Bureau. I did a couple years in juvenile and sex crimes. I did 10 years in undercover narcotics, and then the last 15 years was in homicide.
During the course of your time in the homicide unit, how many cases were you involved in the investigation of?
A lot.
Is there
I couldn't give you a number. A lot.
more than 100?
Yes.
With regards to the homicide unit back in October 26th of 2018, were you employed with the Miramar Police Department then?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen a little bit about the training and education classes you take while you're preparing yourself as a homicide detective.
I've taken a lot of classes. I couldn't name them all, but anywhere from in the narcotics, surveillance, court, advanced basic homicide, advanced homicide, some forensic classes, crime scene reconstruction, things like that.
So, drawing your attention to October 26th of 2018, did you have an occasion to become involved in a Miramar police case investigation documented under Miramar case number 18-10-06269?
I did.
What was your role?
Initially, I was called out as the primary detective, but we kind of had an agreement within our unit because I was only 2 years away from retiring, that any cases that would get assigned to me, that one of the other detectives would take over it, and that I would assist to avoid having to come back. Well, it didn't work out.
So you still come back and testify in all your old cases?
Yes.
Okay. So, Detective, do you live locally still?
No.
I'm not going to ask you. So, going forward, do you remember about what time you got called out?
5 o'clock in the morning.
What types of procedures are in place? How do you get called out?
Typically, it's I would either get a call from the sergeant or I get a call from our dispatcher at the PD. In this case, I got a call from Sergeant Shaw.
Okay. Once you get that phone call, how long do you have before you must respond to the scene?
There's no real set time. It's just, from wherever you're at, you try to, put some clothes on or shower, so, and then prepare to go. So I think it took me like about 45 minutes to get to the scene.
Okay. When you arrived on the scene, who else was there?
Well, prior to going out to the scene, I actually called Detective Moretti, advised him that I had got called out, and so at that point, so that he could take the lead in the investigation. So when I got there, I got to the hospital. It was the first place I got there. There were some officers there at the scene, at the hospital. I spoke to them, got briefed. Detective Moretti showed up shortly thereafter.
Okay. With regards to individuals that you made contact with that were not law enforcement, do you remember speaking with an individual named Cortlen Henry?
I did.
That statement of Mr. Henry, how many times did you speak with him?
I spoke to him twice. Both times were recorded. At some point towards the end of the first one, don't know if I got called out to something else or I just briefly walked away, turned off the recorder. Then I came back, asked a few more questions just to verify location, and wish I recorded that portion, but it was very short, maybe a couple minutes.
So I wanted to go back to set up the geography. You said you worked in Miramar for 28 years.
Yes, ma'am.
And during that time, did you become familiar with the areas of Miramar Parkway, I-75, US 27?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you describe to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what is the northern boundary between the city of Miramar, your jurisdiction, and Pembroke Pines to the north?
Typically, it's Pembroke Road, what divides Miramar and Pembroke Pines, Pembroke Pines Police Department, Pembroke Pines. But there are sections within the city that kind of encroaches like a block or two into Pembroke Road. That's on like the east side of the city by the turnpike. But other than that, it's Miramar, county line to the south and Pembroke Road to the north. And then from 441 east all the way out to US 27th, it actually extends out to a little bit further west on US 27, but there's nothing there, so it's US 27.
Okay, so to make sure we're clear on that, if someone is headed westbound on Pembroke Road, on the north side of Pembroke Road, what jurisdiction are they in? Westbound.
Westbound on Pembroke Road?
Yes.
It depends also, again, depending on what side of Pembroke Road. If you're driving westbound, that could be considered Pines.
So then on the south side, the eastbound lanes, what are those typically?
Typically, it's considered Miramar.
Okay, going all the way out to US 27, is that Pembroke Road border consistent from I-75 west to US 27?
Yes.
So I want to start and show you a couple of maps. I'm going to show you what's been previously shown to Defense Counsel marked as States B. Do you recognize that map?
Yes.
Does that map fairly and accurately
Excuse me.
depict before you show the jury?
Can't show the jury.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Does that map fairly and accurately depict the Miramar geography from I-75 through 172nd from Miramar Parkway north to Pembroke Road?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would request to move States B in as States 2 and publish.
Any objection?
No objection.
It's submitted.
If I may.
You may publish.
Thank you.
States
Okay.
B, we mark states 2.
So Detective Bertrand, this is a small version. I have a bigger version that's identical to make it easier for the jurors to see. So a large copy of what's been shown as admitted as States B. If you could show on here exactly which area is I-75 and Miramar Parkway.
This is I-75, and there's an exit here from Miramar Parkway.
And
Excuse me,
what,
Gary, one second. Gary,
Yes, Judge.
can you move the screen back a little bit?
Yeah.
Thank you.
and Detective, could you be so kind as to step down so we can use the easel? Sure. Counsel, you need to move please. So if you could show the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, where is I-75 and Miramar Parkway?
Right here.
Yes, sir.
What direction does Miramar Parkway travel?
East and west.
Can you point out some of the locations on Miramar Parkway? I'm going to start with Bo Camper's Restaurant.
Okay, Bo Campers is, I believe, right around here.
Okay. You're pointing to an area north of a water feature.
Yes.
What other locations and restaurants are in that area?
There's a Marshall's around here. There's a Home Goods. There's a Chick-fil-A. There's a gas station here in the corner. There's a Benihana's. There's a Home Depot. Anthony's Cold Pizza. There's a bunch of places.
So you said Chick-fil-A and Home Depot. Those are the two I'm going to stick with over here. Okay. Moving along, can you show the ladies and gentlemen what is Southwest 160th Avenue on the map?
This is 160th, which is also Dykes Road.
Does the name change depending on the jurisdiction of which the city or county is in?
I guess, yes. We
And,
know it as Dykes or 160th.
okay, moving further west, what's the next major intersection that's reflected on this map on the far left on Miramar Parkway?
The next major intersection is going to be over here, which is 172nd. On this side is Silver Lakes Development. Over on this side is the Miramar, the hospital, which is, I believe, here. And then there's a regional park. On this side, there's a Target, here, a Winn-Dixie, Pollo Tropical, and liquor store.
Okay, so Pollo Tropical, you indicated, is on Miramar
It's-
Parkway before 172nd, if you were headed
Yeah,
westbound?
it's right around here somewhere. I think this is Target,
Okay. Does 172nd run north and south?
north and south, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you show the ladies and gentlemen where is Pembroke Road on this map?
It's right up here, runs, again, east and west. There's no exit off of 75 to Pembroke Road, and goes out.
Okay. So I want to move on to what's been marked as State C for identification purposes. You have an opportunity to look at those maps prior to coming into court today. Don't let the ladies know them Jersey.
Yes,
Detective, did those two maps fairly and accurately depict the intersections between 160th and 172nd in the first one, and then 172nd and 184th in the second map?
yes,
To your knowledge and experience working in the city of Miramar, is it an accurate measurement that it is 1 mile between each of those two intersections?
I know for a fact the one from 160th to 172nd, because I actually measured that when we searched that area. The one from 172nd to 184th sounds about right, but I don't know for a fact.
Without saying exact, does that sound approximately correct in terms of the distance between the two intersections?
Yes.
Here, at this time, the state would request to move States C in, as States 3 and published to the jury.
Any objection?
Your Honor, we'd object to the extent that it might indicate that it's a mile with the city count tested.
Can I see the exhibit?
Unfortunately.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Objection overruled. It'll be admitted.
State C, or states in the group.
Just to be able to publish the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, slightly larger version of State C. This one is double-sided. Detective Bertrand, if you could indicate on here, you mentioned a Pollo Tropical. Do you point that out to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Over here.
Okay. And you said a Chick-fil-A as well.
Chick-fil-A is going to be around here somewhere.
And if you could indicate here what intersection is to the right side where the yellow line starts at Miramar Parkway.
Over here, this is Dykes. And
160th?
Miramar Parkway, 160th.
And at the far side, we're at 100.
172nd and Miramar Parkway.
Okay. Going to the second part of States C. We're going to show the Pollo Tropical again, please, if you'd be so kind. Okay. And then the Sunset Lakes and Silver Lakes community you described earlier. Can you show where they are here?
This is going to be Silver Lakes here, and then over here on this side and this side is Sunset Lakes. Although this here is like a shopping center for Sunset Lakes, and there's another development here, I can't remember the name of it, but this here is Sunset Lakes and runs west.
And Sunset Lakes you're indicating is west of 184.
Yes, ma'am.
When you were speaking with Mr. Henry, did he give you an address at what location he was residing?
He did.
Do you recall that address as to where he was living?
It was in Sunset Lakes.
Okay. Is there anything that would refresh your recollection as to exactly what address was given?
In his statement.
Okay. So I'm going to first start, I'm going to show you what's been marked as States D for identification purposes only. Look at that and do not show that to the jury. Does that map fairly and accurately depict Miramar from from State Road, Pembroke Road at the north, south to County Line Road, from I-75 west to the western edge of the Sunset Lakes development.
Yes.
Here at this time, the state would request to move states D in as states 4 and
Any objection?
permission to publish.
No objections.
It'll be admitted.
States D mark states number 4.
And so going to the larger version of states D, if you'd be so kind, Detective. The address of 18521 Southwest 44th Street. Was that address made familiar to you as part of this investigation?
Yes.
Can you indicate where that is on this map?
Well, to get there, you to go Miramar Parkway, and right around here is the entrance to the development, and then you can go in this way. I believe you can also go in through this side here. Over here is where the guard gate is here. I believe there's another guard gate down there somewhere.
So is it fair and accurate to say that this is Southwest 40th Street right here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the address of 18521 Southwest 44th Street, does that indicate with the yellow marking on this map?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a true and accurate depiction of where that address is in the city of Miramar?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would request that when the witness makes indications on the
Speaking
map,
objection.
Which comes sidewalk. Ladies and gentlemen, I was asking counsel previous about the exhibits. There are smaller items of evidence that have been admitted, smaller versions of the map, and what's being shown to you are blow-up pictures of it. And so the state indicated that they were using these as demonstrative aids. And so what I want to tell you, though, is these blow-ups of the items that are actually in evidence are to assist the witness in explaining or illustrating his testimony. The testimony of the witness is the evidence. However, these demonstrative aids are not to be considered by you as evidence in the case unless they are later received in evidence. They should not be used as a substitute for evidence. The evidence is what's been previously marked the smaller version of it. Only items of evidence that have been marked in evidence will later go back to you during your portion during deliberations. So these blow-ups, these demonstratives, would not go back unless they're later received in evidence. All right?
Your Honor, may I come back?
Sure.
44th Street, as well as the 40th Street entrance for Sunset Lakes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we're going to move on from this one. We previously talked about the jurisdictional borders of the city of Miramar going to US 27. I'm showing you what's been previously marked as States E for identification purposes. You can just look at that. The States E accurately depict Miramar from US 27 to I-75 from north of Pines Boulevard south to County Line Road.
Yes.
Here at this time, the state would request to move States E in as States 5.
Is there any objection?
No objection.
It'll be admitted.
States E mark states number 5.
And so the identical larger version of it here. So Detective Bertrand, if you could show here, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, where is I-75 on this map?
Again, I-75 is here.
And just so it's clear for the record, that's the yellow indication road with the 7.5
It's
on
going
it?
north and, yeah, north and south.
Okay. And in terms of the Pembroke Road, can you show where that is on this map?
Pembroke Road is this one here. This one's Miramar Parkway, and this is Pines Boulevard. And the county line is down here.
And the county line, is that C9 canal down there at the bottom?
Yes.
Is the Pines Boulevard marked on the map accurate?
Yes.
Is Pembroke Road as indicated and marked on the map accurate?
Yes.
Is Miramar Parkway is marked and written on the map accurate?
Yes.
And the bottom of the map with the C9 canal, it's not labeled, but is that an accurate depiction of the southern boundary of Miramar?
Yes.
Going out to US 27, can you describe for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury which roads connect from Miramar to US 27?
The only road that it looks like over here in Pembroke Road it does, but it doesn't. So the only way you can go to US 27 is you have to actually go into Pines Boulevard and head west, and then this is US 27th, and then when you get there you make a left and you go southbound. Southbound.
Now that we've established some of the jurisdictional boundaries, I want to get back to your investigation in this case. So when you're at the hospital, you indicated you took a recorded statement from an individual by the name of Cortlen Henry.
Yes.
Was that statement audio recorded?
Yes.
Was the Miramar Police Department using body-worn camera footage at any point in time in 2018? And if you don't know, please let me know.
I don't know. Detectives didn't wear body cameras. I'm not sure if Road Patrol did or didn't. But the detectives did not. And I believe they still don't.
And so is there any video recording of this statement?
No.
Prior to coming into court today, did you have an opportunity to review that statement?
Yes.
Your permission to approach?
You may.
I'm showing you what's been previously marked as States F for identification purposes only. Do you recognize that disc?
Yes, ma'am.
Why do you recognize that disc?
That's my initials and date.
Those contents fairly and accurately represent the statements that you reported with Cortlen Henry on October 26, 2018.
Yes, ma'am.
Any additions or deletions?
No.
Here at this time, the state would request to move States F into evidence and publish for the jury.
No objection.
It'll be admitted.
States F will be marked states number 6.
At this time, it would be appropriate for the instruction.
We want to publish
2.6?
the one item now, correct?
Yes,
All right,
sir.
ladies and gentlemen, regarding the use of these transcripts of recordings, you are about to hear recorded conversations. These recorded conversations are proper evidence, and you may consider them just as any other evidence. You are also being furnished transcripts of the recorded conversations. The recordings are the evidence, and the transcripts are provided to you only as a guide to help you follow as you listen to the recording. The transcripts are not evidence of what was actually said or who said it. If you notice any difference between what you hear on the recordings and what you read in the transcripts, you must rely on what you hear, not what you read. You may publish.
Thank you, Your Honor. Starting with the shorter of the two.
That's the last portion of it.
Okay, so then we will go to the 25-page, or the 24-page transcript first.
Yes, that's the first. Let's begin.
Yes.
Henry? What's up, man? How you guys doing? Hey, my name is Detective Bertrand. This is Detective Mark Moretti. We're here to talk to you about what happened. Listen, you need to be straight up with us and tell us where this happened. Okay? My understanding, you told these officers something, but the evidence doesn't show that it happened there. So, what happened? Right off the leg. When we got to the leg. Okay, tell me what happened. When I was playing music, getting off the exit. I was already getting sleepy. Almost home. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's out of nowhere, like, gunshot, you know what I'm saying? So, I ducked down, you know what I'm saying? In the car, and I almost cut.
Let me back you up a few minutes. Where were you coming from?
From Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale studio. Which way did you take?
I took 595 to
75. Then you took 75 south?
That's what, if you come from Fort Lauderdale and you take 595,
Yeah.
when you get off, and you get on the expressway, right? Yeah, so yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And then we got off in Miramar on the exit. And then when I got past, you know, the 3-turn signal?
Yeah.
When I got past that,
Which turn signal were you in? Which turn lane were you in?
I was getting off the exit. When I got off the exit, after that light, we made the right,
Yeah.
I came down. You know what I'm saying? I was coming down to the light. You know what I'm saying? And as we passed through the light, you know what I'm saying?
What lane were you
I
in?
was in the left lane. I was in
The left?
I was in the left lane.
The left, he's on the far left side.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you were already turning under the Parkway, or you were starting
I
to
said I was already off the exit.
Yes.
Off the exit. Already off of the exit. You know what I'm saying? I made it right.
Okay.
Three turn left, right?
Yes.
Okay, I went through that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Went through that. When you going west or east? I was going, west is this way, right? No. Okay.
What actually what happened? Where were you going?
I was going to our house.
Where's your house at?
Our house is over in Silver, like by Silver Lake.
Okay.
1805 21 Southwest 4th Street. Over, I can't really
What is it?
it's 1805. Yes, 1805 21 Southwest 44th Street.
What?
44th Street.
Okay, so you were going west. Okay, because you're saying that you made a right.
I'm saying, like getting off the expressway, you make a right to go west, you know what I'm saying, to go west. If you're coming south on 75, you take the west.
Okay, yeah, you make
There's 3 turning lanes that go right.
Okay, so you made a right. Can you get to Dice?
I'm not down, so I don't know.
Okay, once you make the right off of 75, the exit, there's another light there. There's, that's where the shopping center is. On the right-hand side, there's a shopping center.
Yeah, you talking about like Chick-fil-A and stuff like that?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I got like around that area, and I started getting it. When I heard it, like, it was like, you know what I'm saying? I felt it, and I almost crashed the car. You know, so I hit the head a little bit. But, you know what I'm saying? I almost crashed the car, and I stayed up a little bit. I couldn't really see anything. I couldn't really see anything. Because I'm like trying to avoid from getting shot. Like, I'm blessed to be there. Like, I'm like, I don't know. Like,
And you didn't hear anything, didn't yell anything was said?
man, I was like, the car was still rolling forward, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying not even, you know what I'm saying, be even, I'm trying to stay safe, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to even get hit. I'm scared, you know what I'm saying, for my life out there. And the car is rolling. I don't know what car, which way it went, you know what I'm saying? Nothing.
You have the description of the car?
That's what I'm saying. I didn't see anything. Like, I was
Here's the hard part, what we're having a hard time to understand, is that we shut down that entire area, and we had officers shoulder to shoulder walking out. They didn't find as much as one shell casing. They didn't find one piece of glass. Nothing. Nothing to what you said adds up. And it's hard.
Well, I'm telling you, bro, that's like it.
I mean, for whatever reason, your 2 friends died. Are these your good friends?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These are
These your 2, I'm assuming close friends,
yo.
and you're doing them in service by not telling us the truth.
I'm telling you the truth, man. I don't like. What do you want?
Well, how do you make shell casings disappear?
I don't know. I cannot tell you about a shell case, and I'm driving, ducking for my life, trying to make sure I don't get hit. And you telling me, you telling me about this shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. I'm driving. I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be worried about it. You know what I'm saying?
I know it's not for you to worry about.
Shit crazy, bro.
But if you tell me it happened there's got to be some evidence there. There's going to be broken glass, just like there's broken glass over here from when you guys opened the doors and stuff like that. Okay, there's going to be broken glass over there when the windows got shot out. There's going to be casings from the people shooting at your car. Okay, there's going to be evidence over there. Okay, right now, there's nothing. Okay, now, I kind of think I know what happened because I got information that something else happened on the east side of the city in Pembroke Parks, but which sounds similar to your thing, but you need to be straight up with us, okay? Listen, I know you may be maybe you're scared, but like Mark said, you're doing your friends a disservice. We can't do our job.
I'm not doing no disservice. I'm telling you the straight up honest truth. Like I can't. What can I like tell you if I'm ducking for my life? My head's over here, steering wheel's here. I'm trying to make sure I'm like, you know what I'm saying? But like I'm keeping the car straight by hitting me. You know what I'm saying? I'm that shit fucked me up, bro.
Let me ask you this.
I look up and see them like how they looking. What you think I'm like looking for a car? No, hell no. I'm trying to.
All right, well, let's just forget about where it happened. Let's just put that on the back burner for a little while. Let's talk about why. Are you having issues with anyone?
I mean, we are upcoming artists and stuff, so technically, like, we have been having, like, you know what I'm saying, like, people like, you know, when you like start doing better than people, they start hating and stuff, you know what I'm saying?
So you had some jealousy issues?
Yes, like jealousy issues, but but also like it's crazy because people they don't try us, you know what I'm saying? They talk like on social media, you know what I'm saying? But they see us and, you know what I'm saying,
it's easier for them to talk shit on social media than it is to your face.
you know what I'm saying?
So who's been talking shit on social media?
I haven't really been on that, but like my friend that's passed away now, I'm just so. He was telling me like, right, he always was telling me how people, just like today, he was telling me some folks from up our way.
What's up your way?
Like girl beach, like that's where I used to stay, you know what I'm saying? So I grew up there, so that's our hometown, you know what I'm
So
saying?
what did your friend say about from Vero Beach? What was he saying to you?
He was saying he basically just like, they don't know, like Instagram, just in Facebook, like snippets, like folks like that's like don't even really like I know. Like, they were just hating this.
First of all, if you're up and coming, you know, in the music business, you're going to be all over social media. That's how you make your mark.
Yeah.
So I know you know more about what's going on social media. You may not know where this happened.
I'm not big. I'm a beaver. I don't even have a phone, so I'm not like on it. Like I'm just working, making music. You know what I'm saying? Making music and stuff. That's what we're all doing. I don't really be into any of that stuff. I'm trying to feed into it because like.
What's the name of the group and stuff?
YNW.
What is it?
YNW.
YNW?
Yeah, but like, I already have a lot of other stuff going on in my life.
Like what?
Like I be having like help on my home stuff back down south. I mean up top north from her beach because she has to stay with a friend right now, and my little sister staying with her. My little sister trying to grow up fast and stuff like that. So
Are you support them?
yeah, I support it.
How you support them?
And who they use stuff, my own with sign, he kind of like contributes. You know, yeah, with my mom, like it more.
With Anthony Williams, what's his nickname? Yeah, what do you call him? I'm sure you don't call him Anthony. What do you call him? Seth? How you spell that?
S-A-K.
S-A-K? And that's how he's known on social media as Seth? What about Chris Thomas?
Juvy.
What?
Juvy.
June?
Juvy.
Julie?
No. Juvy. J-U-V-Y.
Juvy?
And what do you know as?
I'm just known as my name.
My man?
My name. They call me my name.
My name?
My name.
By your name? Yeah, of course. Okay. Let me show you this real quick. Okay. I'm not a great artist, but this is the exit to I-75. Okay. You said you made it right here. These are the lights. This is the exit. This is Miramar Parkway. This is Chick-fil-A.
That's like
the
the
gas
curve.
station.
That's like the curve. The part that curve.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That goes like that. Yeah.
It's like on down. You know what I'm saying?
Huh?
It was on down.
So did you pass Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, I passed.
Did you pass this light here?
Yeah, that's what I was telling you. I passed.
Oh, so you passed that light?
Yeah, I got on down. That's what I was telling you. I got on down.
Did you hear the Chili's?
Where's Chili? Like Polo Tropicana.
Polo Truck comes on the other side of 75.
They have one. They have a new one close to 172.
Hey, do me a favor.
Yeah, they have one.
Go to Google Maps. I can't do it on my phone.
Awesome.
Yeah, all right.
It's close to 172. Yeah. So we got to check 172.
You know where the target is at?
That's what the pollo shop. That's what the pollo.
Where the new Pollo Tropical is
I
being
don't know
built?
that, but that's the book. I know what
Okay, the new one that's being built on Miramar Parkway? Did you get to that place?
yeah, I got like around the area.
Is that where the shooting happened?
Close to 172.
So you know where Target is at?
Yeah, I know.
The target?
About Polo Tropical. I know. I'm just.
Okay, so is that where you were at?
Yes, sir.
Where the shooting happened?
Yes, sir. I was just telling y'all that's why I got off the exit and stuff. I got off.
Okay, so you got off the exit. At this point, was there a car following you that you noticed prior to? Did you guys have a beef with anybody on the highway? Like a road rage type thing or anything? Okay, so now you get off, you pass Dykes. The shooting hasn't happened yet. Or did it happen yet?
You passed Chick-fil-A.
Did the shooting happen?
I got on past the light and then it happened like.
So at the time that you passed Chick-fil-A, did the shooting already happen or no?
No.
Okay.
You said at the time I passed it,
Yeah.
like a little after, you know what I'm saying? Just a little after.
Okay, so you passed the light over here,
Yeah,
the second light. After you passed the exit, there's a light there. You turn right, then there's an intersection there. So you were past the intersection, the shooting hadn't happened yet. Is that what you're saying?
And then I got right on past the light. Follow me?
Mhm.
Right on past the light, sir. And no bullshit, bro. No bullshit. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying? And I swerved a little bit, hit the median, but like the car's still rolling, and like I'm still ducking. I'm trying not to be seen. You know what I'm saying? In the car.
Did you hit anything else other than the median? Because you got damage to the hood of your car. The damage to the hood of the car was already there?
Yeah, on the trip. Yeah, on the trip to Georgia. Somebody had to hit around. It's crazy, bro. Yeah, moving for all night, bro.
You know, after you pass, there's Chili's, then there's a park, Miramar Regional Park.
I think Chili's like ducked off, right?
Huh?
It's like you can't really see Chili's, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like a little bit hidden, you know, because there's like a little berm that kind of, there's a little shopping strip there, there's a whole bunch of little restaurants, and then there's the regional park. Then after the regional park is where the Target is at, and the new Pollo. We're just trying to figure out, you know, for you to give us a little bit better pinpoint where you think it happened. Was it before the park or after the park? The regional park?
It was like right,
Hey, how about we get in the car and you show us? You want to do that?
I guess, bro. Yeah, we can. But like, after that, like, I'm this shit, like, it's like bringing my anxiety and shit, like, I can't, they're really dead right now. I just seen these men in the car, dead, bro.
You don't have a cell phone?
No, sir.
Do you know where they live?
My
Your friends?
They stay with us.
They stay with who?
They stay at the same building.
They stay at this house? Okay. How old are they?
One's 21, one's 20.
Who's 21? Anthony's 21?
Yeah,
And Chris is 20?
I think so. I don't know they say it, but I know Anthony's 21, so
You can't give me any names that you guys were beefing with your other friends on social media? Anything recently came up? I'm sure they're gonna talk to you about it.
We trying to, not really, because like, not just,
What do you use for social media? What sites?
I use,
Yeah.
I just be on like Instagram. Really, that's the only thing I be on. They be on everything else. They be on everything.
What's your Instagram name?
YNW and
YNWM?
huh? YNW and
Band? BAND?
BAM. When I ask me.
Just to help us figure out what's,
Like the beat and stuff.
yeah.
I'm not really seeing it on my page. Like, my page is like,
Yeah, but then we'll get your friend's page, we'll get your friends.
oh, okay. Yeah, I understand that.
What about Anthony's? YNW?
SAK, Jason,
Sack Chaser?
all together. And then what about Juvy? What's YNW stand for?
Young nigga world.
Yeah, okay. Chris and Anthony, are they both from Vero Beach too? Where are they from?
Anthony's from that.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have the parents, like Chris's mom's name or Anthony's mom's name or that?
Anthony's mom's name is Jana.
Jana?
Yeah.
Jada? Jada or Thomas? What about Anthony? Oh, Jana is Anthony's? What about Chris's?
Do they live here or in Barrel? The mom?
Who lives with you at 18521 Southwest 44th Street?
Them two. Jamell. And his brother.
Jamell's brother?
And my cousin, Jacoby, agent.
What's Jamell's last name? What is it?
Demons. DEMOS.
You haven't been having enough calls with anyone lately?
Who?
Your roommates.
I'm done what I'm saying, like everybody, then people been saying like stuff is squashed and stuff like that. And
They said stuff was squashed?
people have said stuff was squashed.
Who was it squashed with?
Oh, people that don't even, like, I know they.
Which we just, enlighten us. Phil was saying, helps us know a little better. Who were you beefing with that it got squashed? Who was that? What's the old homeboy's name?
Like, his name is Bentley.
What is it? Bentley? That's his real name? That's just who we call him.
That's his real name.
And where's he from?
He's from Grand Beach.
Have you seen him down here recently?
We did get jumped in Walmart
When?
a couple months back, so but I don't know who the kick guys were.
Which Walmart?
The Lord right here in Miramar.
The Walmart close to your house?
Like, yeah.
Instead of the one in Pembroke Pines?
Yeah.
Did you guys report it?
Nah.
Who jumped you? Was he inside the Walmart or out the front of Who was it?
Some, I don't know, it was chicks, I don't know their names.
You're talking about the Walmart on 184th and Pines Boulevard?
They said they called the police.
Did you remember talking to the police that day or no?
No, we didn't talk to the police.
You just left. You just left. What was the beef was inside the store?
And then we fought inside.
I mean, when you say fought, just fist or anything else? Any weapons shown in there?
And it was fixed.
Was it safe to say you beat them?
We weren't really lucky. We got 2 dicks and they stole, my homeboy's chain popped and they picked it up and they started flexing on me on Instagram and stuff like that.
So after the fight, they
So this was on Instagram?
Yeah, they posted it on Instagram. I think they deleted it because
who's that?
I think the people that took it, I think they deleted the video, deleted their Instagram, all that. Crazy.
Remember the names? What was the
That's
names?
what I'm saying. I ain't know who they was. Period. I'm not from that. They was from that.
But you know it was, but you knew it was on social media posting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I seen the post, but of course, anybody can go on Instagram and you know what I'm saying. Simply just go on Pembroke Pines and people from this gonna pop up. You know what I'm saying? Or it's like my homeboy, he's big. You know what I'm saying? He's big. You know what I'm saying? Who's your homeboy? He's recording artist. His name is Jamell Demons.
You guys live with Jamell?
Yeah.
He's known?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We didn't know, we don't know, we didn't know. It just came up on notice. So what I'm saying is we didn't know what it was. It was I know it. You know what I'm saying? Almost you know how you just go to the store or something and alright, say you go in the store and you just feel like something happened. You know what I'm saying? And your instinct tell you, and you just, you know what I'm saying? That's what happened. We just call them when they bent the corner, and it just happened like that. And they ran out the store when they got it.
Do you have any affiliation with any of the gangs?
No, sir.
Nothing at all?
No, sir.
about your friends?
You know, none of us affiliated in the game. We just record us.
Let me ask you,
Y'all
did you, huh?
Y'all won't be.
That's the keys to your car?
Yeah.
Yeah, just put them over here. Have you fired a gun today? You know they're going to be able to tell, right?
I ain't fighting with them.
Okay.
How we fight?
I'm asking you. I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm just asking you, because if somebody was shooting at you, you know, and you shot back, that's self-defense. So there's nothing wrong with that, okay? Actually, the law allows you to do that. But I just want you to be straight up with me, okay? Because if we test your hands and stuff, it's going to tell us if you shot a gun today.
I didn't shoot a gun today. I didn't shoot no gun today. I was driving. I didn't shoot no gun.
Are there going to be any guns in the car? Were you guys just smoking out when you guys were in the car driving?
No, they no, it was like when I got on close to the exit though, they was like, damn this, you know what I'm saying?
Well, because the car reeks, you know, a weed, so. Okay, I just want to know, you know.
I'm saying straight, like, I'm saying, I don't have nothing lie, like, them.
Right.
So, like,
You guys doing any dope deal gone bad and that's why this happened?
no.
And you guys work. How do you guys support yourself?
Coach, my homeboy is assigned and recorded on the car.
Jamell?
Jamell? Yeah. And that's how you're paying for the rent for the house and utilities and everything?
Yes, sir.
Who's he signed with?
He signed up 300.
And hold up.
With 300?
I'm assuming that's a rental car?
Yeah.
Who's the car manager?
Well, our manager.
What's that?
Our manager.
And which one's your manager? What's his name?
I don't know, it's like Frankie's something.
Your manager? You know?
I'm calling my nickname. I need another girl in that. And I just met him like this year. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna like just know the name. But his name's Track.
Is what?
It's Track.
Trek?
Yeah.
T-R-E-K?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you can provide us that's going to help us for your friend's sake? This is the point. That anything you're involved in, anything illegal, you tell us, it's fine. It's a wash at this point. But we need to know the full story for Anthony and Chris's sake.
Yeah, we don't care as far as that. All we care about is your friends, who shot your friends. Right? We're a homicide detective, so I don't care if you were doing a drug deal. I don't care if you had a beef with somebody. I'm just telling you. You know, I don't care any of that shit.
I'm gonna tell you, no.
All I care about is solving your friend's homicide.
No, it wasn't nothing like that, bro. I told y'all the story, and that's it, bro. I don't even talk about it. Like, bro, I told y'all. Like, I don't know.
Okay. Just so you know, all right? Because you're saying, well, I don't want to talk anymore. There's going to be a lot more questions. There's, you know, and we're not trying to piss you off. The thing is, we don't know your friends.
Yeah.
So the reason we have to ask all these questions, because the more we know about your friends, your lifestyle, your friend's lifestyle, your friends, his friends, and the circumstances surrounding today, the more, you know, the easier it's going to be for us to try and solve this. Okay, if we don't get any information, you know, it's... Let me throw this out to you, okay? And just be straight up, man. Just be this is an honest answer, and I would respect you, okay, by just telling me the truth, even if it's something that I don't want to hear. But I respect the truth rather than BS, okay? And it's a simple question: if you knew who did this. Okay? You may or may not know. If you knew who did this, would you tell me? It's either a yes or no question. Answer.
Honestly.
Yeah, honestly. The truth. You wouldn't?
Because I wouldn't want to be a part of it. I wouldn't want to be...
Okay. I respect that. I respect that.
I don't like it. It's a lot of color and stuff. I'd be killed.
Because you rather just handle it within you guys? Okay.
I don't know how I feel right now. Like, I'm so fucked up right now. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry for my language, you know what I'm saying? Like, this shit making me emotional, bro. Like, I ain't been asleep since yesterday, bro. You know what I'm saying? This shit just really just fucked me up, bro. You know what I'm saying? And then y'all gotta take my shoes, and I just got them bitches back from somebody that goddamn took them from me. You know what I'm saying?
Took your shoes?
Yeah, and I had to get them back, and I had to clean them up.
Who took your shoes?
My homeboy had them took them, and I had to go get them, and he had to fuck them up, man. I just cleaned them yesterday.
He stole from you?
He like kind of like switched them out, like his shoes when nothing compared to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He lives with you or is it?
Nah, he just came down there just to, you know what I'm saying, just to, because he makes music too.
Mm-hmm.
So he came down there just to get for me, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, your house or at the recording studio? Hey, where's the recording studio at?
I don't know the exact like location, you know what I'm saying, because it was my first time being there. You know what I'm saying? They brought me there.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
Give me some landmarks.
I know it was in the Dale, like that's probably like
In the where?
in Fort Lauderdale.
Mm-hmm.
That's like
You know what exit off for 95? Do you get off 95? Is it on East?
yeah, it's off of 95. I think it's like, is that Oakland or something like that?
Oakland Park?
Yeah, I think something like that. I had they use their phone.
Yeah.
How long was
Well, we're trying to help, you know, we're friends.
I know
What happened?
I know.
So, you know, I mean, with my friends,
It's
you
just
know.
like I can't like you know like you if you was there and you was in
So I understand, you know, getting shot at, I'm sure it's not a fun thing. I've been shot at too, so I definitely know, but I definitely would want, you know, to find out or help the police as much as possible, you know. Because, listen, the bottom line is, man, you know, I know you're mad and you want revenge and all that kind of stuff, but the reality is, what's it going to bring to you? A momentary satisfaction? I'm just saying, what would that bring to you? A little bit of satisfaction, but then you get caught, and then you end up, you know, in jail. Maybe you killed them, they're suffering or whatever is done and over, they don't get justice through the law, but then you end up in jail. You know, so who won? You know, is the truth, you know? They win, because, you know, because now instead of killing 2 people, they essentially kill a third, because once you go to jail for life for killing somebody, then your life is essentially over too. So, you know, you gave them the satisfaction of taking out the entire car.
I'm not thinking about retaliation. I was trying to mix them up. My mom and my sister. That's what I was brought up there. I was trying to say. That's I heard this. I heard you get. You know what I'm saying? I heard you get the dude, 2 people you grew up with. You know what I'm saying?
That shit hurt. How long have you known?
Yeah.
Anthony and Kurt, like how many years?
Yeah. Like
5 years? How did you guys meet? Was it school? Was it school? Or just through music business?
With Your Honor's permission, may I publish the last short clip?
It's in evidence, correct?
Yes.
You may.
When you came down, so you didn't get off on 75. I mean, you got off on 75 when you came down. You didn't get off. You didn't come from like 95 and get off on Hollandale.
I came from okay, Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale, you drive 95 first to get right on the Sawgrass Expressway.
Right. You got 595.
And then it's like Florida. It says the Florida International. You know what I'm saying? And then I got on the expressway. I got on the expressway. Expressway take you all the way to Miramar. You know what I'm saying? So I got on the
Okay, so you took 95 south. Then you went. You're saying 595?
595 to
275?
yeah.
And then south on 75 and got off on the Miramar exit off of 75. Okay. Which is where the Bow Campers is and all that. Yeah, okay.
You said Bow Campers?
Bow Campers, restaurant, Bow Campers.
I think it's lit up.
Yeah.
It's like a little
Big restaurant, yeah, lake around it.
Okay, I know what it's called. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll draw some stuff here real quick, and as soon as we're done, we'll give you home and drive off. Okay? All right.
Thank you, Council. Does that conclude the publication?
It does, Your Honor.
Thank you. Gary, could you collect the transcripts from the ladies and gentlemen jury, please? Ladies and gentlemen, pass the transcripts, both of them to the bailiff, please, Gary.
Your Honor, this would be a logical place to take a break.
Sure. You have more, Gary?
Yes, sir.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're going to do. It's now 12:40. We're going to take our luncheon recess. Remember the admonition that I gave you previously. You are not to discuss the case. Don't form any opinion about the case. Don't allow anyone to discuss the case in your presence or even no research. Just leave your notepads on your chairs. We'll see everybody back at 2 o'clock, all right? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a nice lunch. Thank you. Let the record reflect the jurors stepped out. Counsel remain. Along with the defendant, anything to discuss, counsel?
Just if I could tell Detective Bertrand, I cannot have any communication with you while you are on the stand. If any issues arise, please contact my office and I'll get a message.
Anything to discuss?
No, sir.
All right. Have a nice lunch. See everybody back at 2. Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. Let the record reflect the purpose of the defendant, Mr. Evans, his counsel, the assistant attorney, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, and our witness, Mr. Bertrand, remains on the stand. Now, I think we'll go for lunch. You're still on your direct examination of the witness. If you're ready, we'll proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay, good afternoon, Detective Bertrand. We left off listening to the statements that you took.
Yes.
I first want to ask you a question. There's an incessant beeping going on at the beginning of that statement. What was that?
I believe that was medical equipment that we were doing.
Okay, where were these interviews taking place?
Inside where you put patients, a little room.
So an exam room at the hospital?
Yes.
Okay. When you're finished speaking with Mr. Henry, and there you discussed in there a part where the officers were walking shoulder to shoulder down Miramar Parkway.
Yes.
So in terms of the time frame of that morning, when is this statement with Mr. Henry taking place?
The statement with Mr. Henry, well, I got at the hospital at 5, and I believe it was at 6:05 when we started the interview.
And so between 5 and 6 a.m., the area between 172 back east to 160th has already been searched.
That was, I believe, prior to me getting there. They had searched from I-75 to Dykes on 160th, and then after I left the hospital, because that's why you hear in the interview us talking about, well, we didn't find anything, because that was the initial area that was searched. And so then after I left the hospital, I met, there's a Walgreens on the northwest corner of Dykes and Miramar Parkway. We met there with about 20 officers or so. There were sergeants, CSAs, road officers, traffic unit, and I told them I wanted to block off Miramar Parkway from 160th all the way to 172, the westbound lanes, and eventually we did that. But prior to that, Detective Moretti and Toyota drove Cortlen to the area to get a better, a lot of the interview, that's what we were trying, that was important for us to find a location and jurisdiction.
So is it clear there was actually 2 searches done between I-75 and 172?
Well, actually 3.
Could you
There
explain?
was 175, I-75 to Dykes, 160th. Then I was involved personally from 160th to 172. I assisted in walking that area also with, I think...
That's the 20 officers you were talking about?
Well, the 20 officers to block off everything, and then we had I think a dozen officers, including myself, that actually walked from 160th. This was a second search. And then once we finished that one, they continued from 172 to...
Is that the 184th we discussed earlier?
Right, exactly.
So going to the search from 160th to 172, you testified previously it's a mile distance.
Yes.
How long did it take to conduct that search of that mile with the 12 officers?
It took us about an hour to do it, because we would stop along the way, we would find a little debris, kind of look at it to see what it was, and that kind of stuff. And essentially, we walked shoulder to shoulder, kind of like, you know.
Okay. Did you find any shell casings?
No,
Any glass fragments?
no,
Any projectiles?
no,
Any tire marks?
no,
Any sort of impact or anything on the median that would indicate a crash or recent friction?
no.
The next thing that you did you continue on from 172 to 184 of that mile-long search?
Other officers continued that search.
But were you there personally?
No,
At that point, did you travel to a location in Fort Lauderdale, Florida?
yes,
And would that be 805 Northeast 4th Avenue?
I believe so, yes.
When you arrived at 805 Northeast 4th Avenue, what was that?
That was a recording studio, kind of like in a warehouse district.
When you went there, did you make contact with the management and the owner-operator of that business?
Detective Toyota did.
Once you went to that studio, did you determine the name to be New Era?
Yes,
After you went to New Era, did you review the surveillance footage that was collected from New Era?
at one point I did.
Okay. I'm now approaching what's been previously marked as Stage G for identification purposes only.
Yes,
Detective Bertrand, is that the studio footage that you recovered from New Era on October 26th of 2018 along with Detective Toyota?
yes,
Does it fairly and accurately depict the studio footage that you reviewed of October 26th of 2018?
yes.
Here at this time, the state would request me to state G in.
No objection?
Okay.
It'll be admitted.
States G will be marked states number 7.
And permission to publish?
Yes, you may publish, are you looking to have the lights dim?
Yes, please, Your Honor. And so, Detective Bertrand, are there a number of clips on this particular footage that you retrieved?
Detective Toyota was the one that downloaded it, but I reviewed it all there also.
Okay. I only at this point am going to publish the exterior from channel 4, 2018, 1026, 02, 17, 41.
Excuse me, you're able to see? Yes, all right.
Detective Bertrand, in your experience in collecting and reviewing surveillance footage over the course of your career as a homicide detective, is the time always accurate?
No,
Is it your recollection that this was off by 1 hour due to not
Objection.
adjusted?
What's the objection?
Foundation.
Sustain, rephrase.
When this video was recovered, was there a determination made as to how far off the time was for meal time?
Same objection.
Why don't you come sidewalk?
Detective Bertrand, when you arrived on scene with Detective Toyota, was there a process in which you determined the time of which the DVR was currently recording at and the difference to the actual time?
I really wasn't involved in that portion of it.
So you wouldn't be the best person to ask
No.
them? Understood. Prior to viewing this footage, had there ever been any mention of a fourth person in the gray Jeep?
No.
After you went to this location, did you travel back to Miramar?
We did.
And where did you go when you went back to Miramar?
We went to the office, which is in the clubhouse of Sunset Lakes.
And at that point, did you obtain surveillance footage from there?
Detective Toyota did.
And we're going to get that in for a different witness. So, okay. Moving on to October 28th of 2018. Did you go out of town? I'm sorry, October 27th, 2018. Did you go out of town to help further interviews in this case?
I accompanied Detective Toyota, Moretti, and I believe Toyota and Tomlin.
Okay.
We went to Vero Beach.
Okay. When you went to Vero Beach, did you record those interviews up there?
No.
Do you remember who you spoke with?
I didn't speak to anyone. I stayed, I believe Detective Moretti conducted all the interviews. I stayed outside, and I think in like a kitchen area, kitchen living room area, and I just hung out with the family that was there.
Did you provide your contact information to the family?
I believe I did, yes. I left the card.
Specifically, Nakia Bagley, that individual, did you provide your contact information?
Yes.
Did Ms. Bagley, without saying what she's saying, on the next day, October 20th, did Ms. Bagley send you text messages?
Let me go back. I'm not sure. I know I left a card. I'm not sure if it was her. I left my card at the house.
Okay. So that was on October 27th.
Yes.
So on October 28th of 2018, without going into what was sent to you, did you receive text messages from the family members of one of the deceased?
Yes.
Okay. Now, going forward on November 2nd of 2018, did you attend a memorial service or funeral in this case?
I did.
Is that common as a homicide detective?
It is.
Why would you do that?
one, show respect, and two, looking for information. Sometimes family members will come and approach us and talk to us. Friends, they'll come that previously didn't know about us, but now they see us there and they approach us.
Were you able to determine or develop any other leads yourself at that memorial service for
No.
Mr. Williams?
No.
Okay. Moving forward to November 8th of 2018, when the first batch of phone records came in, did you take additional investigative steps?
I accompanied Detective Moretti. He asked me, based on some phone records that he got back, he asked me if I could accompany him to search an area, and we did. We went out to US 27th. Should I go on?
Please, and so you
We went to first place we drove to was Holiday Park, which is a trailer park north of Pines Boulevard on the left-hand side of US 27th.
But when you say left hand, do you mean
West side.
the west side? Okay.
West side.
Understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. And describe to ladies and gentlemen of the jury how populated that is.
It's a trailer park, so obviously the construction is not like a house. It's not fortified or what have you, and it's pretty densely populated with a lot of trailers and stuff like that.
In your statement with Mr. Henry, you alluded to some investigation with the sheriff's office off of I-95 and Hollandale Beach Boulevard.
Yes.
As a detective in the Homicide Bureau, was it common to reach out to other jurisdictions for information?
Yes, I think while we were there, we got some information of...
Objection. Hearsay.
Sustained as to what the information was.
So with regards to the trailer park, did you find any evidence of a shooting that had occurred at that trailer park?
No.
Did any witnesses come forward and speak to you at the trailer park?
No.
Were there any ballistic signs at the trailer park that there had been any shooting?
No, in fact, we kind of concluded that based on the construction of the trailers and stuff like that, and the amount of damage bullets that were fired at the car, it was our belief that someone would have called if it happened there.
So going forward to November 21st of 2018, did you have the occasion to respond to US 27 and Pembroke Road?
And that was a second search that we did.
And when you responded to there, who was present?
Detective Moretti, Detective Toyota, Detective Smith, I believe Detective Tomlin was there, I was there, and there were some canine officers from Fort Lauderdale PD.
When you were there, did you personally collect any evidence?
No,
Who would have done that?
crime scene,
Why is that?
because that's their job.
As a homicide detective, do you collect evidence?
Sometimes, but we always have crime scene if they're there. Under certain circumstances, we may, if crime scene wasn't there and we couldn't get them out.
And other than the investigation at US 27 that you were present for and Pembroke Road, did you have any other involvement in this case?
No, going back to the one on the November 8th, we also searched from Pembroke Road. After we left the trailer park, we went back to Pembroke Road, and Detective Moretti and I walked from Pembroke Road all the way to Taft, north on Taft to Taft, and then back. That was about 2 miles. We walked the northbound lanes and then southbound lanes, and we didn't find anything.
And that's again on US 27?
On US 27.
Okay. Nothing further with this signature.
Counsel, is there any cross-examination of this witness?
Yes, briefly, Your Honor. Thank you. Detective Bertrand. Good afternoon. How soon after the car arrived at the hospital would you say you got involved in the investigation?
Well, at 5 o'clock in the morning is when I got called out. I don't have the actual incident report to see when the call was dispatched.
Okay.
But I got to the hospital at 5:47 is when I arrived at the hospital.
Okay. So you got there within an hour?
Yeah, 47 minutes exactly.
Okay.
Of when I got called out.
Okay. And your first assignment or the first task that you undertook was the first substantive task was to interview Mr. Henry, Cortlen Henry? Is that?
Yeah. Well, the first thing was I got briefed by the officers that were there. They told me what they had done to that point, which was the 75 to 160th search, and they didn't find anything. And then after that is when proceeded to interview him.
Okay. So prior to you even discussing the matter with Mr. Cortlen Henry for the first time, you had already been told that based on the description of the location of the incident that he provided to law enforcement, they found no evidence.
Right, from I-70, based on what Cortland told the officers.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So at that time, you had already formed the impression that he was either mistaken or not being candid.
Well, it was, I think through the statement, it was pretty evident that we were trying to narrow down where that location was. Because we knew that based on what he initially told the officers, it didn't happen there. So we were trying to narrow it down. That's why you keep hearing us trying to figure out the locations and giving descriptions of landmarks in the area to kind of narrow down where that location was so we can look for evidence.
Right. Because he wasn't giving you exact addresses, he was giving you descriptions, and you were trying to decipher from the descriptions that he provided
Right.
where he might have been described.
Exactly, where the incident happened.
And you knew to this point, at least up to the point where you began your interview with him, that the information, or at least the impressions that law enforcement had formed based upon what he said, were not matching up. Right?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, you started off your interview by telling him, hey, we got a problem. What you told us is not matching up with what we found at the scene.
Right.
And you developed an impression throughout the course of that interview that he wasn't being candid. Did you not?
Well, later on, we did, after we saw that there was a fourth person in the car, when we didn't find any evidence. But that's why we brought him we had officers, 2 detectives bring him to the scene to kind of narrow down the search area. But we did a pretty wide search of the area, just in case he was mistaken.
Sure. But even before you took him out to the scene, you were making, during the process of your, would you define your interaction and your exchange with Mr. Henry as an interview or an interrogation?
It was an interview.
At that time, you didn't perceive him to be a suspect.
No.
You perceived him to be a victim.
Yes.
But you're also of the impression that he was being dishonest with you because, I mean, several times throughout your statement, we can say, hey, there's a problem. You might not want to lie to us, right?
Well, we also had misinformation in reference to an incident that happened on the east side of this city in BSO jurisdiction, which we thought could have been involved, but we later found out it wasn't. So we were mistaken about that. So we were just trying to it was important for us to find the location, one, because of evidence, to look for evidence that would help us with the case. And the second reason was jurisdiction.
Sure. But I mean, you're a seasoned detective, right? You're retired now.
Yes, sir.
So at the time that this transpired, you were, how long were you in the force?
26 years,
And how long had you been a detective?
24 years,
And how long had you been a homicide detective?
about 13.
So it would be fair to say that you had a dual purpose during that interview. You were trying to, or at least three purposes. You were trying to determine the boundaries of jurisdiction, right?
Correct.
You were trying to identify the location that this incident took place
Yes, sir.
in order to determine boundaries of jurisdiction,
Yes, sir.
and also to further your investigation.
That's correct.
And you're also trying to get a gauge of whether the person to whom you were speaking was involved or not involved. Right?
Yes.
Fair.
Yes.
I mean, the number of times that you implied to him that he might be being dishonest as opposed to merely mistaken. You heard the tape earlier, right? You recall.
I didn't have a preconceived notion as to whether he was being dishonest or not. We had some mistaken information. Maybe that's where I came across that way, that there was an incident on the east side, which we later found out it wasn't. We were just trying to find out the location where it happened.
So when you were telling him stuff like, hey, you know, if it was my friend, I'd really want to help the law enforcement officers out. I mean, don't you want to help your friend? You weren't trying to get him to be candid. You were trying to get him to reach into the depths of his recollection. Is that what you're trying to do?
I would say probably both.
Okay. So you were trying to make an assessment of his credibility throughout the course of this exchange.
Sure.
It's fair, right?
Sure.
Okay. So you, I mean, having been a detective for so long, you kind of have a BS meter. You refer to, I don't want to be BS, right?
Yes, sir.
You figure you have a BS meter that's pretty well calibrated.
I guess.
Was it going ding, 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 ding?
Like I said, I was trying to find out where the incident happened.
I understand.
And that was basically it.
I'm trying to ask if your BS meter was starting to be triggered throughout the course of this exchange. It's my question.
I guess.
It was.
Sure.
Okay. So, therefore, you did discern that this man to whom you were speaking, this man that you were interviewing, not interrogating, may be taking you for a ride. Right? That's the ding, ding, ding part that you
I don't know if, like I said, I was, at that point, he was a victim. I had no reason to believe otherwise. We were basically trying to narrow down the location. I also understand that being shot at is a traumatic experience based on what he's saying. And that's why we had him, he was transported to the scene to see if we can narrow down the location. I don't know.
Okay. So it would be fair to say that your BS meter did not go off and you did not form the impression that he was being evasive in the manner in which he was answering your questions in the tape that we all just heard.
Well, there are some things that that's why I asked him, trying to gauge whether one of the questions that I asked him was, if you knew who did this, would you tell me? To see his response. So I guess if you want to call that a BS meter or whatever, I'm just trying to gauge if he's being truthful with me, if he's hiding something. If we asked him all kinds of questions, whether it was a drug deal, whether he had a beef with someone on on 75, all kinds of questions, trying to gauge what could have happened. We're also trying to find out why it happened and any other things that he might be leaving out. Sometimes it's, like I said, a shooting is a traumatic thing, and
Fair to say, sometimes when you leave out information, it's inadvertent, and sometimes it's deliberate.
correct, and we have to explore that.
And you were trying to figure out which one.
Correct.
But you drew no conclusions throughout the course of the...
Later we did. Later when we didn't find anything, and when we saw the video, we knew that where he told us it happened, it didn't happen.
Okay. Well, you perceived him to be scared because you suggested maybe you're scared. Is that what you had perceived? Or did you perceive him to just be evasive? Which one? Or neither?
I didn't draw a conclusion. I'm trying to ask him questions, again, to have him open up, see what could be him being hesitant, or if he's leaving something out, or just exploring different avenues.
Okay. What about the part when he told you that he didn't have a phone? Did that seem curious to you?
Actually, I didn't even think about it, but now it sounds kind of weird, but I didn't even think about it at the time.
You know anybody without a phone? It's not living under a bridge.
No.
So at that time, this information, this indication, this loud indication that maybe he is deceiving you, it didn't occur to you now, but upon reflection, you would say it's now occurring to you, now that I put the question.
It's easy to Monday morning quarterback when you have a lot of time. We're in the middle. My goal at that time was to find out the location, okay, so that we can look for evidence and jurisdiction. Those were the two main things at that time. And then obviously why, and get some background information as to why it could happen and things like that.
I understand that, and just to further your analogy, I would submit that during the process of this exchange, when somebody tells you, an adult male tells you, I don't have a phone, that being curious is not Monday morning quarterback. That's like missing somebody wide open in the end zone, right? But it didn't occur to you.
No, really at that time, it wasn't maybe later on it could have been something that Detective Moretti would have considered, but at that time, like I told you, what my priorities were, at least for me.
I noticed you mentioned Detective Moretti. It's not something that would have occurred to you. Was it fair to say that Detective Moretti was the one making the investigative decisions on the case?
I called him to be the lead detective because we had, like I stated earlier, we had an agreement between the homicide detectives. I was 2 years left before it was almost 2 years exactly to the time to retire. So the agreement was that if I got called out, the other guys in the homicide unit would take over the investigation, and that I would assist to avoid exactly me having to come back.
Yeah, and it didn't work.
It didn't work out.
Sorry about that. But you're not suggesting that the fact that you weren't lead meant that if your investigative instincts suggested that certain actions be taken, that you wouldn't suggest that to Moretti. You're not saying that.
Again, I don't know how many times I'm going to explain it. To me, at that point, we were trying to find out the location and try and get some history and stuff like that.
Okay, no, we're past the phone thing. I'm just saying, as a general concept, your perception of your role vis-a-vis Detective Moretti's wouldn't be because he's the lead that if something occurred to you, you would not convey it to him. You wouldn't keep it to yourself. You'd convey it.
No, we would discuss.
Okay. So, there came a point later where you took Mr. Cortlen Henry, or at least Detective Moretti did, out to the scene. So there would be no mistake as to where he said it happened, right?
Detective Moretti and Detective Toyota drove me to the scene.
So now we don't have the possible disconnect between what he's describing and what you perceived. Now he's saying it happened in this location, wherever it is that he took you, right?
You would have to ask Detective Moretti what was discussed. They just told me, I believe it was like in the area of 163rd and Miramar Parkway, but we started, like I said, on 160th and proceeded westbound.
And law enforcement exerted a lot of effort, searched there, found nothing.
Correct.
Now you know this guy is not telling you the truth, I'm sure, right?
Well, at least that it didn't happen there.
Okay. So at least he's not telling you the truth as to the location of the incident, right?
Correct.
And he told you where he lived. I think early on in the transcript, he told you the address on 44th Street, right?
Yes, sir.
And it occurred to you, of course, that maybe we should go and execute a search warrant on that location just to make sure that we are investigating the possible people that are involved. Did that occur to you at the time?
No, I didn't do a search warrant in that location.
Well, I know you did. I'm asking whether it occurred to you that you should have.
No.
And based upon your being in and around Moretti, you never heard him suggest maybe we go do that.
In order to get a search warrant, you have to have probable cause that a crime was committed there. And at this point, we had no evidence that the crime was committed at the house to get a search warrant.
You need evidence, probable cause to determine that a crime was committed at the house, or you needed probable cause to determine that possible evidence of a crime may be retrieved from that location.
Correct. Yes. Yes to both of those.
Right. And so the gentleman who shows up at the hospital telling lies with two deceased people in his car, it doesn't occur to you that the place he goes directly next might be a source for you to find evidence, right?
We had no evidence that he went to the house.
Where'd he go?
According to him, to the hospital.
Where'd he go after that?
I have no idea.
Was that a bit of concern?
Well, we went to different areas.
Huh?
We went to other places. No, we didn't go there.
Okay. So, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but you now have somebody who has presented himself with two dead bodies, lied to law enforcement, had a long interview where he's taking you around in circles and being evasive, and where he leaves, and you know.
Objection, counsel testifying and asked to answer.
Sustained. Rephrase your question.
Okay. Didn't occur to you to search, to track where he may be going and conduct a search warrant because it might be fruitful?
No.
At the time that somebody, at least, determined that Cortlen Henry may have been involved in this tragedy, you were already off the case?
I believe I already testified to my involvement in it, so that the items that we covered was my involvement in the case, period.
Okay. So as you recall, at the time that you disengaged from further involvement in the case, Cortlen Henry had not yet been identified as a potential suspect. If you recall.
No.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Thanks, sir. Sir, the location that Cortlen Henry identified as his residence was also the place he identified as the residence of the two victims.
Yes, sir.
And that didn't trigger you to think maybe to search that location either?
No.
Okay. Tell me again about Walmart. Do you remember what Cortlen Henry told you about Walmart?
He described some incident at Walmart.
And the reason that you were asking him, I think explicitly, was that you were trying to determine whether or not there could be any other people who may have had a motive to engage in the offense.
Correct.
And he told you about an altercation that took place at Walmart.
Yes, sir.
And you know, of course, that Walmart has surveillance tapes.
Yes, sir.
And so, when did you go and retrieve those tapes?
I don't know if Detective Murray did.
If you were making the call, would you have done so?
I don't know if there was no connection to it at the time. I don't know if I would have or would not.
Because you do realize you asked him that very question for that very reason.
He also said that there was nothing to it, that as best as I recall.
He said the beef was squashed.
It was, yes.
So you said, okay, well, and then that settles it.
Well, I didn't say anything. I thought,
And you didn't do it?
I didn't, no.
Okay.
That completes your cross-examination, counsel?
I think so, sir, but I'm being vacant. Remember the reference to a guy named Bentley in the statement? That there was a beef with a guy named Bentley? You don't recall?
No.
Okay. Because we listened to the statement earlier, and that statement said the beef was squashed with Bentley. It didn't say that beef was squashed with the Walmart. Right?
I don't recall.
Okay. But you just know that you didn't go and check up on either one.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further.
Counsel, is there any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Detective Bertrand, does surveillance footage exist forever?
No.
Is there a retention time frame in which you have to be able to go to whatever location to retrieve it?
In most cases, from a week or two to 30 days max.
Did Mr. Henry give you any more idea of a time frame as to when this Walmart incident happened?
If he did, it's contained. I don't recall at this moment.
Counsel asked you a lot about getting a search warrant for the house.
Correct.
Do you have any information whatsoever that would lead you to believe the defendant, Mr. Demons, or Mr. Henry had been at the house?
No,
Where did all the investigation point to they had been
in the car.
with regards to the recording studio? Did you go there and retrieve the evidence from that location of the
Yes.
video? No. And you get a warrant just based on belief,
No,
on a hope and a prayer?
no.
What do you need?
You need probable cause and evidence that the items of the crime are there.
Did you have anything to base that on to go to a judge and ask for a search warrant at that time?
No.
Do you know how long the defendants lived there before they were evicted? If you don't know when they were evicted, that's
I
fine.
don't recall.
Counsel brought up a lot about Mr. Henry being evasive or not wanting to answer questions. You asked some questions of him. Did you think he was going to try and exact street justice?
Repeat that again, I'm sorry?
Did you think Mr. Henry was going to try and...
Sustain. I don't know about leading, sustain the objection.
With regards to the questions you asked of Mr. Henry, did you ask if he was going to take any actions into his own hands?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
This witness excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well done. Thank you, sir. You may step
Thank you,
down.
Your Honor.
You're excused. Who's your next witness, Captain?
Morgan Curry?
Outside?
Yes, Your Honor.
Bring in Morgan Curry, please.
Yes, sir.
Second.